were able to take into custody Nick Reiner, a suspect in this case. He was subsequently booked for murder.
Nick Reiner. That is the name currently sending shockwaves through every corner of Hollywood. The LAPD has officially declared him the primary suspect in a case so dark it feels like a twisted plot from one of his father's movies. But this isn't fiction. This is the cold, hard reality of a Brentwood bloodbath. Nick has been booked on 2 counts of first-degree murder. The victims? His own parents, the legendary filmmaker Rob Reiner, and the iconic photographer Michele Singer. Today on Hollygossipwood, we are breaking down the timeline that led to this arrest. How did a man who spent his life trying to overcome addiction end up in the back of a police cruiser accused of the ultimate betrayal? From the frantic 911 call placed by his sister, Romy Reiner, to the evidence found hidden inside their multi-million-dollar estate, we're going deep. This is the story of a family dynasty that came crashing down in a single violent afternoon. It all started at 3:40 p.m. on Sunday, December 14th. The quiet, tree-lined streets of South Chadbourn Avenue in Brentwood are usually the pinnacle of peace and privacy. But that peace was shattered when Romy Reiner walked into her parents' home. What she found inside was a house of horrors. LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell confirmed that both Rob and Michele were found with multiple stab wounds. I want you to think about that for a second. Stabbing isn't a clean crime. It's personal. It's intimate. It requires a level of physical proximity and raw rage that tells detectives a specific story. Sources close to the investigation tell Hollygossipwood that there were no signs of forced entry. The gates were secure. The alarm wasn't tripped. This wasn't a burglary gone wrong. This was an internal explosion. And as the police began their sweep of the property, they noticed one person was missing. Nick Reiner, who had been living in a guest house on the property, was gone. His car was missing, his phone was off, and for 5 hours, the LAPD treated him as armed and dangerous while the world waited for answers. The manhunt didn't last long, but the tension was astronomical. While the news was just starting to leak that a celebrity had been killed, detectives were using license plate readers and cell tower pings to track Nick's movement. By 9:15 p.m., they found him. Nick Reiner was located 14 miles away in Exposition Park, right near the USC campus. Now, here's the strange part. The arrest was uneventful. Usually, in a case this high stakes, you expect a standoff, but witnesses say Nick looked dazed and exhausted. He was taken into custody without a fight. Was it the look of a man who had realized what he'd done, or was it the look of someone in the middle of a total psychiatric collapse? To understand Nick Reiner, you have to understand the 20-year war he's been fighting against himself. Nick wasn't just a celebrity kid. He was a man who lived his struggle out loud. By age 15, he was in rehab. Over the next decade, he cycled through 17 different treatment facilities. We're talking about heroin, homelessness, and a constant battle with the shadow of his famous father. In 2015, Rob and Nick collaborated on the film Being Charlie. It was supposed to be their healing moment. Rob even told the press that the movie brought them closer together. But addiction and mental health don't care about a good review or a successful movie. Sources say that in the weeks leading up to the murder, Michele Singer, his mother, was reportedly terrified that he was using again. Imagine the tragedy. The very people who spent millions of dollars and 20 years trying to save him are the ones the state says he eventually turned on. Let's talk about the final 24 hours. Saturday night, December 13th. The Reiners attended a star-studded holiday party at the home of Conan O'Brien. This was a room filled with Hollywood's elite, but multiple sources have now come forward saying that Nick and Rob were heard in a heated, brief argument in a side room. Witnesses say Nick was acting bizarrely, asking other guests if they knew who he was and appearing extremely agitated. Rob reportedly told Nick they were leaving early because his behavior was embarrassing. Was that it? Was that small moment of public shame the trigger for a psychotic break? Or had the plan been forming in Nick's mind for weeks? Now let's get into the legal drama. Nick has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, but there's a special circumstance attached: multiple murders. In the state of California, this is the heaviest hammer the law can swing. It means the DA can seek the death penalty. District Attorney Nathan Hochman has officially decided on the death penalty yet, but he's refused to rule it out. Meanwhile, Nick's defense team is being led by Alan Jackson, the legal shark who recently defended Karen Reed. Axon's first move, he told the judge that Nick was not medically cleared to appear in court for his arraignment. This is almost certainly the beginning of an insanity defense. If Nick was in a state of drug-induced psychosis, can he be held legally responsible for the intent to kill? That is the question that will define the next 2 years of this trial. The world is in mourning, from former First Lady Michelle Obama, who was actually supposed to have dinner with the Reiners that Sunday, to icons like Billy Crystal and Larry David. The tributes are pouring in. But there's a darker side to the conversation. People are asking, how did this happen in one of the most secure, wealthy neighborhoods in America? How did a family with every resource available fail to get Nick the help he clearly needed? The irony is heartbreaking. Rob Reiner spent his life fighting for social justice and children's welfare. Michele was a pioneer for women in photography. They were a couple that gave everything to the world, only to have their lives taken by the person they loved most. Nick Reiner is currently being held without bail at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility. He's on suicide watch, and the world is waiting for his first appearance in court. This isn't just gossip, you guys. This is a tragic look at the intersection of fame, mental health, and the devastating cycle of addiction. I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you believe Nick Reiner deserves the death penalty, or is this a clear case of a mental health system failing a family? Should his history of addiction be used to reduce his sentence? Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we will be live streaming every update from the Brentwood murder trial. See you in the next one.